This is going to be a learning process. And I should have told Barb. Barb should really delete the old invites. Let me email her if she's not on yet.
I'm on here. I have deleted them all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
They may not have disappeared from your calendar, but they've been deleted.
Okay, excellent. I blame Yale.
All right, it's noon. It's go time. Let's do it, Seth.
Well, I just want to make sure we have everyone.
Oh, okay.
Right? I don't want to do a kickoff level set if we don't. I'm not sure we have the best way to confirm it. But I guess we can get started. So welcome everyone. It's been a little bit of a complicated and challenging year on fronts far, honestly, more important than our work in terms of society and COVID, et cetera. Nevertheless, we are finally around the table together. So thank you all for your flexibility, your interest. We're excited to have you all here. Patricia and I will go through a few minutes together, and then we hope we have a series of 6 days over these 2 weeks that are jam-packed with useful time that doesn't become too much of a burden for any of you in terms of the 5-hour window with the breaks. And then we hope gets at the heart and soul of what we try to do when we do this in person. I think depending on the view you're using of Zoom, and hopefully everyone was able to join right at the top of the hour, maybe we'll just go around so that everyone can see what we all look like live and we can say hello. So I'm in the upper left-hand corner. Patricia, do you want to just wave and say hello even though you're doing this talk with me? They'll get to know you. And then
hello, greetings.
And are any of you not able to see? I just want to make sure everyone is Zoom aware, right? You know how to see the speaker and all that. If anyone has an issue, don't hesitate to reach out. For everyone else on the team that's here, to wave and say hello would be great, because if we were all in the room together, it's very easy to do, but it's a little bit trickier here. So I guess from left to right, for those of you who are here right at the top of the hour, that'd be great, I guess, starting with Greg, if he's here. I actually didn't see him. He is a senior corporate executive, so he may be stuck with some major issues in addition to his faculty role. I don't think he is. Hold on. Let me text him and just see if he's joining.
Maybe for these intros, Seth, you could just stop sharing your screen for a moment so that we can see everybody at one time. Would that be
Patricia, you got that? Yeah, great.
There we go.
And we're not all seeing the same order.
Would you like me to direct this part?
Yeah, that would be great, although I'm trying to look who's here. I have very small boxes on my screen.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just ask you to just say hi real quick based on the order that I see you. So Patricia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia Simon, and I co-direct with Seth, Innovation to Impact. I am absolutely delighted, thrilled to see all of these beautiful boxes with faces, and I'm thrilled. I'm looking forward to spending this next couple of hours together on Zoom, even though we have Zoom fatigue, likely. I think we'll have fun, nonetheless.
Thanks, Patricia. I'm Barb Nangle. I'm the Community Engagement Manager for this project. If you have entrepreneurship questions, they should be directed to Patricia either in the chat or via email at p.simon@yale.edu. If you have questions about anything else, you can either message me directly in the chat or email me at barb.nangle@yale.edu. And Annette.
Hi, I'm Annette Toledano. I'm in Miami, and I'm very excited to be here finally.
Great. Victor?
Hello, my name is Victor Pickard. I'm Business Advisor to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. So I'm going to have a brief presentation in a few minutes after Seth and Patricia kick the course off. So I'm super excited that everyone's here. I'm excited to work with this cohort and hopefully give a little bit more clarity about this program and why NIDA launched it. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Julie.
I'm guessing I'm the only one. I'm Julie Schumacher. I'm in Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm also excited to be here.
Excellent, thanks. Zach.
Hey folks, I'm Zach. I'm at the University of Utah, and I'm also co-founder of a little company called Listen, and excited to be here as well. Nice to see all of you.
Great. Andrew.
Andy Talal, I'm also very excited to be here. I'm a professor at University of Buffalo.
Great. So I noticed that you called yourself Andy, but your name in the box says Andrew. So if there's anybody who has the name they prefer to be called by, please put that in your name box. Rick?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rick Hunt. I'm in beautiful Durham, North Carolina, where we voted for Joe Biden 82-18, just saying. And I'm delighted to be here. I was the venture mentor in residence at the Yale Entrepreneurial Institute, where I helped students and faculty launch new businesses. And this is my third go around with I2I. I welcome you all. I wish it were in person, but we're going to have a good show for you anyway.
Thanks, Rick. Ayo?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ayo Adenuga. I'm a program manager for Avon Medics. It's great to be here. Nice to see you, Barb, for all the communications and all. So I'm very excited to be here today.
Excellent. Janie?
Hi, I'm Janie Merkel. I'm one of the mentors here in Innovation Impact, also my third year. Really good to see you all and looking forward to the week. My previous role at Yale, I led a small molecule discovery group, so interested to be a resource for any of you on the therapeutics process, particularly small molecules. Thanks. Bye.
Roger?
Hi, I'm Roger Narayan. I'm a professor at the Joint Department of Biomedical Engineering between UNC Chapel Hill and NC State University, and work on a variety of drug delivery devices and options.
So I'm not sure what was going on with your audio came through with kind of like a clanging noise in the background, Roger. I don't know if there's anything you can do about it. I just want you to know that.
I have another headset. I'll use that one.
Okay, thank you. Anand?
Hi, I'm Anand Muthuswamy. I'm at Caltech here in Pasadena, California, and it's nice to meet everybody.
Okay, great. So it's Anand?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I apologize for
No
mispronouncing.
No worries.
Johannes, am I saying that correctly? Okay.
Great job. I'm Johannes. I'm at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and excited to be here. Great seeing all of you.
Wonderful. Trina?
Hello, yes, I'm Trina Johnson, and I'm at the School of Public Health in Boston University, and still hanging in the city over here, even though originally I'm from San Francisco. So nice to see everybody.
Great. Carla? You're muted, Carla?
Hi, I'm Carla Kmet-Danielson. I'm a professor of psychiatry at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, South Carolina. And I just want to say I'm bummed that we can't all be together in person, but I'm so grateful to the I2I team to making sure that we're still able to get this wonderful curriculum. I'm really looking forward to it.
Great. Erica?
Hi, everyone. I'm Erica. I'm down at Scripps, Florida. And it's nice to get to see everyone kind of sort of in our new in person.
It's good that the leaves change in Florida too.
Yeah, actually I had to leave Florida to take to this picture, so.
Ping.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Ping Wang. I'm a professor here at University of Pennsylvania and also founder of a company called Instanosis, focusing on diagnostics. Looking forward to the event. Thank you.
Great. Eric?
Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Wold at University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston, and I work in the Center for Addiction Research on a therapeutic small molecule-based project.
Great, thank you. There is oh, Laszlo. I didn't see your name there for a second. Laszlo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laszlo. I'm working at the Scripps Research Institute in Jupiter, Florida with Erica, the research group of Dr. Courtney Miller. I'm originally from Europe, Hungary, and I'm so happy to see everyone today, and I'm excited to work with you.
Excellent. Mfundi. Mfundi, you're next. Okay, we'll go on to Kimberly.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kimberly, the Marketing Associate, and I'm really happy to meet everyone and seeing this all come together. And I'm calling in from New Jersey.
Welcome. Chris, you want to jump on for a second and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Chris Dadio over at the Yale West Campus. I'll just be helping out with any technical issues today.
So he's our tech guy. We love him. Eric.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eric Guerrero. I'm the Director of Research at I2I Institute, and I'm calling in, connecting from Santa Monica, California. Looking forward to this experience.
Excellent. Jamila.
Good morning, everyone. Jamila Stockman. I am from San Francisco area, but I am I'm an associate professor at the University of California, San Diego. So I'm looking forward to this week and the subsequent weeks.
Wonderful. And let's try Mfundi one more time.
Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mfundi Makama. I am the curriculum lead for the Innovation to Impact. We're excited to have you here, and we're looking forward to the next coming days.
And would you like to tell people where you're calling in from?
I am calling from Eswatini, so Swaziland in Southern Africa.
That's some dedication. All right, back to you, Seth. I think that's everybody. Well, actually, is there anybody that didn't get to introduce themselves? I think I got everybody. All right, back to you, Seth.
I put it on mute and now created problems for myself, sorry. I'm gonna move fast because we're behind schedule and Patricia and several others on the team don't like that. And so, and it's a little bit tricky to communicate, but we'll see what we can do. So the goals of the program are listed in front of you. I won't spend a lot of time talking about them. You probably are aware since you applied and got in. The one really important thing I'll point out is the community piece. It's a little tricky. We're not sure how that'll go in terms of building relationships because we're not in the same room and in person and have the chit chat and evening activities, etc. But you are not just hopefully getting trained and gaining insights, but you're also becoming part of a greater community, and we take that very seriously in terms of that network, those relationships. So please keep that in mind. Feel free to chat with each other offline, share constructive, critical, and even destructive feedback as we go through these days and weeks together.
Fantastic. Thank you, Seth. So I'll go through, just give everyone an overview of how we'll spend our time together. I know many of you received the emails from Mfundi. We are here day one. You have not missed any days. And so during week one, we'll cover healthcare, entrepreneurship, and your customers. And day two, so tomorrow, we'll look at your product and market, and day three, we'll focus on intellectual property and funding. So we have week two built in here, and what we expect you'll be doing is reaching out to your I2I mentor that has been assigned to you via NovaEd platform and reviewing some of the homework that you've completed, specifically the SBIR specific aims. We included a template on NovaEd for you to review. If it's not released yet, it will be released soon. And you'll be working on your investor pitches. When we regroup during week three, we'll have some presentations around financing and how to build your team. And day five is the big day where you get to put together all that you've learned over the past couple of hours that we've spent on Zoom into an investor pitch. We'll have a closing ceremony, and then we'll discuss some of the next steps. We have some follow-on activities that have been enjoyable for previous cohorts, including a lecture series that Barb Nangle launched for us last year that many people enjoyed. So this slide presents the key activities for the short course. You have the live lessons, check, you got that part, you're here. And then on Noblehead, you have homework assignments. There are 6 that are required, and we will get feedback to you in a timely manner once you submit your homework on NovoEd. And of course, I've mentioned the phone call and the investor pitches.
Can I just say one thing? We'll try to get it back quickly. Again, this is new for us too. If we don't, please do reach out and let us know, because it's possible that we are also having technical or learning issues on our side.
That is a good point. That is a good point. We did pilot some of it, but there may be some issues that we didn't anticipate. So thank you, Seth. So you have a couple of folks that you can, categories of folks that you can leverage during your experience here. You have the I2I faculty advisor that you've been assigned to. You have your peers, as Seth has mentioned. This is going to be a tremendous resource, and we have included into the schedule of each day a coffee chat time where you all can just hop on and reflect with one another how the day went and see where that goes, where the conversation goes from there. And of course, our speakers, you know, these are folks who have dedicated their time to develop custom presentations for innovation to impact. And so they are committed to this idea of cracking the addiction challenge. So feel free to reach out to them as well. So I'll pass the mic over to Victor from NIDA. And Victor, we're so glad to have you here with us again. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to try to share my screen. Hopefully no issues. Can everyone see the screen okay?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's coming now.
What about now? Good. Good. Or not yet?
Yes,
it's there.
Yep, got it. Okay,
perfect. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your attention. I'm very sad that we all can't be in the same room. So for us, every year, this is an extremely exciting program because it represents an opportunity for us to engage with amazing researchers and to start developing and building a community. And that's something Seth and Patricia have already introduced the team to. So strongly encourage, connect with each other through LinkedIn, connect with all your mentors, and really stay engaged. So I'm going to be very brief because just like Seth, I don't want to anger Patricia. So the goal of this program and kind of where we are in regards to the overall healthcare ecosystem. So my name is Victor Pijartkos. I'm a business advisor to the Office of Director within NIDA. So as you all know, within HHS, we have NIH, and then within NIH, we have 27 institutes. And NIDA is one of those 27 institutes. So the mission of National Institute on Drug Abuse is to advance science on the causes and consequences of drug use and addiction, and to apply that knowledge to improve individual and public health. And our office, which has a very long name, the Office of Translational Initiatives and Program Innovations, or OTIPI, is really focused on that second part of the mission, to apply the discoveries to improve public health. The office has a number of initiatives that we oversee, ranging from managing our small business program, where we invest about $50 to $60 million per year into startups and small business companies. We also focus on education events and programs, such as the one where everyone is participating today. We're also heavily involved in the NIH Reproducibility Initiative. We use the prize and competition challenge mechanism, which is somewhat new. And then we also have a number of strategic alliance and partnerships initiatives, ranging from the FDA to public-private partnerships, such as the Milken Institute, for example. So for everyone on the call today, so really these three are kind of the priorities. Obviously, we're all here for I2I, so I'm extremely excited. But I think for a lot of folks, we always, when we plan programs, to some degree, we always think about the exit strategy and what is at the end up front. So we have a number of challenge programs. We also have our small business SBIR's TTR program, which I'll briefly talk about on Friday, as well as the prize competition. But why did we launch this specific training curriculum? So it's hard enough to successfully launch a product and bring it to the market in life sciences. I think it's even more complicated and more difficult in the space of substance use disorders, so in the addiction ecosystem. And this is a good representation of that in 2018. So BIO came out with a report in response to when the opiate epidemic was really picking up steam, and there was a lot of money that was the Congress was approving for various initiatives. And within this report, BIO outlined the number of therapeutics that were in the pipeline from phase 1 to the market, and they focused on pain as well as addiction. And I think on page 17, they clearly articulate that venture investment into U.S. companies with lead products in addiction has been virtually non-existent over the past 10 years. So unlike something like cancer or Alzheimer's or some of the other more, I would say, prolific indications that don't have the stigma that we do, if you as a researcher do a fantastic job and you have a breakthrough research and you publish that research, there's an opportunity for a large pharmaceutical company or for a startup to come to you and potentially go and raise venture capital money and start bringing that product towards the market. In addiction, unfortunately, the case for that isn't there. So to some degree, NIDA realized that, well, since there's no one there to pick up the pieces, we have to launch a number of programs to help our research community to take steps to to hit those next inflection points so they can slowly start to bring their research towards the market. Because without us, really, there's very few players in the ecosystem that can help with this initiative. And again, for this reason, that's why we launched this education course. And the title of the RFA that this amazing team responded to and won the award to was Growing Great Ideas, Research Education Course in Product Development and Entrepreneurship for Life Science Researchers. And really the goal, as Seth already articulated, was focused on building a curriculum that was focused on product development, entrepreneurship for basic research scientists. So if you have a company, and it was great to hear that Zach, that Ping, and I think had one more, Evan Biomedics, that there's already companies in place, so that's fantastic. So I can't wait to hear about all the technologies that everyone is working on or all the research that everyone's working on. But if you haven't even thought about starting a company, this is really the point of this course, to teach you a little bit more about the complexity of the healthcare ecosystem, to introduce you to things like intellectual property and working with your technology transfer office, to understand the requirements of a patient and how we develop a target product profile in therapeutics and really work backwards in order to develop a comprehensive drug development program. So again, the goal isn't necessarily to start a company, but the goal is for you to have a broader vision at the end of this curriculum so you can take that knowledge and apply it to the fantastic work that you're doing in the lab. If you want to take that next step in translation, I'm going to give a presentation about how to put together a competitive pitch on Friday. And that's going to also encompass the synergy between an effective research strategy and then what goes into a pitch from a startup and an investor perspective. So we hope that you enjoy this fantastic week. Ask questions, be relentless, be engaged. And most importantly, here it says, take advantage of all the resources. I already said that. So more importantly, harass Seth and Patricia, get the feedback on your homework assignment, make sure that you schedule meetings. In terms of contact information, again, I'll give a talk and then I'll also lead a fire chat with John. And John is actually a recipient of one of our challenge awards through our prize competition. And John, recently his company received FDA breakthrough designation. So we have I've had a relationship for him for a number of years. So we hope that through this session, through some of the things that we're going to be presenting and giving all the team members that you learn, and then after the next 2 weeks, we strongly encourage for everyone to schedule a technical meeting with us So just shoot us an email. Here's everyone within our office, including our office director, Dr. Elena Kustova. This was kind of her brainchild in terms of an initiative. And then we also have program officers. So Dr. Julia Brzezinska oversees our health IT portfolio. Leonardo Angeloni oversees our medical device portfolio. And then Ram and Chris oversee our therapeutics, so small molecules and biologics. And I'm just a business advisor that gets to have all the fun and none of the responsibility. So after these 2 weeks, please schedule a meeting with us. We're happy to answer any questions. And again, welcome you into our amazing ecosystem. And with that, I don't know if there's time for questions, or Patricia, I'll hand it back to you now.
That's great, Victor. That was awesome. Everyone should understand it's sort of a privilege to have Victor here and spend this much time. He's incredibly knowledgeable. I think I'm next, right? I don't want to mess up. So.
I'll share the screen now. And Fundi, would you mind just going over the ground rules? I'm going to share the beautiful slides that you've prepared.
Oh, it sounds good. So, you know, we have.
Sure. I think I'm technology savvy, but not as savvy as I think I am. Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
And if you don't mind just controlling the screen for me, Patricia.
Absolutely.
So, you know, since we're not in person, it is very important for us to understand these platforms that we are using to be able to really leverage them so that we can be able to build the connection experience. Because of that, we just wanted to take you through how these different platforms work, especially NovoEd and Zoom, as those are the two platforms that we will be using. So on the next slide, basically, we're just saying that if you want to go to NovoEd, you don't have to think about the URL to go to NovoEd. You can simply go to our website, click on Virtual Short Course, and it should be able to take you to the NovoEd website. So we're making things very easy for you to be able to always get to NovoEd whenever you need to do so. And then on this next slide, we just show you the interface. So I can see that most of you have been on NovoEd, which is great, and you have been focusing on the pre-short course work, right? So now we are on the second step of the short course program, which is really double-clicking on the virtual short course homework as well as the live sessions that we have. So basically, that's an interface that most of you are already familiar with. So when you go to the next slide, we just really wanted to double-click some of those tools that are very important for you all to be able to use. So if Patricia can go to the next slide.
Yes, okay.
Awesome. So basically on the next slide, as Patricia mentioned at the beginning of the call, we have 6 required homeworks, right? It can be a little bit hard to recall all those 6 homeworks. So NovoEd has a good application or a good tab for you to be able to track your homeworks. So this is a good way to track those required homeworks that you need to be able to successfully complete the program. And I'm sure you did realize that we do have our live sessions, but we also have the homeworks. So for each and every day, you will be able to see a screen where it says homework. So just make sure that after every short course day, you go to that homework and actually look at it. One thing that I also wanted to mention, it was that dialogue box we have, the discussion. Please make use of it, right? Because you're not in person. It is very important to capture our thoughts during the short course. So please make use of that discussion board just to share with your core fellows what you're thinking, what you find to be very important, so that again, we're able to build this community and really have engagement during this virtual short course. So the last slide that we have, I will not really go through it because of time constraints, but we do have it on NovoEd. You can take a look at it and just see our recommendations on how you can best use Zoom. And again, as Bob mentioned, if you have any questions pertaining to the entrepreneurship, the program, the curriculum, please do reach out to Patricia, and you can reach out to Bob if you have any technical issues. So that was my end, Patricia.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mfundi. Just wanted to acknowledge Mfundi for, helping us
within a short period of time, get started with all of this technology and really get all of the documents in place for you all in a timely manner and laying things out in such a clear way. So thanks very much, Mfundi. So I'll pass it over to Seth to start our initial presentation. So we'll be discussing the entrepreneur's journey this time.
Thank you, Patricia. And I will try to bring up the right screen. Just give me 1 second. My goal here was to make Victor's slides look incredibly graphically intensive. So we'll see if I succeeded. And yeah, Mfundi, thank you so much. Mfundi's just been extraordinary to work with, and I think is responsible for a lot of what you're gonna experience. Okay. Just let me know when you can see that. Did it work? Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is to become an entrepreneur. And I think, one of the interesting things about the group here, I would argue, is that, although actually somehow I can't see, hold on a second, I have an external monitor that's draining. Now I can't see my slides for some reason. Just give me a second. Apologies. One of the interesting things about this group, and it was referenced very lightly at the beginning, is that they have extraordinary backgrounds. So let me give you a sense of what I mean. So the group that was at the bottom of that introductory slide, ranging from Rick to Janie to people like me and Fundi and Patricia, is you've got everyone from neurosurgeons to marketing executives who've helped launch food businesses to somebody like Janie, who's collaborated with, in some ways, one of the most successful faculty member pharmaceutical entrepreneurs in the country, to digital health entrepreneurs who've sold businesses to national health insurers and scaled them to 50 or 100 million benefit lives. But they all have different backgrounds. And I would argue that many of you, in fact, are already entrepreneurs. I think one of the key questions to think about is what is an entrepreneur? And I'll move very quickly to try to get us back on schedule and give us time for a breakout. I think many of you have thought about this issue. Before I dive in with some of the ways people think about what an entrepreneur is, anyone out there think they have a definition of an entrepreneur or what they view an entrepreneur as, that they would, and feel free to just aggressively unmute and chime in. That's okay. You don't have to. So this is why it would be good to be in person, because I could point at you and put you on the spot. This is a little trickier. There are multiple definitions. I think some of the standard definitions that people use for entrepreneurship is that, so one example would be people who, whether or not they feel they have the resources, take on some level of risk to try to turn some idea into a business. They try to identify opportunities, put useful ideas into practice. I think most of you fall into that category already. One of the things that I think is really interesting about academics is that I actually view people at academic institutions who build out research programs as being particularly entrepreneurial. So anyone you know, or you yourself, if you've identified opportunities that are needed to have answers, you apply for funding and you build out a research program, that's actually a pretty entrepreneurial activity. And most of the academics that I know who've built large research programs, I consider them incredibly entrepreneurial. They're doing that within a largely structured environment that de-risks many things for them, but nevertheless, they're doing a lot of the things that the Wall Street Journal might consider entrepreneurship. So what makes for a successful entrepreneur? What are the characteristics? Again, please do chime in. I mean, we're a little behind. I'd ordinarily wait longer, but anyone have any thoughts on when they think about an entrepreneur? What do they think about for that person? What makes a good entrepreneur? Any thoughts about that?
Novel ideas or ideas that are kind of missing in what we normally have access to. What I think of.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, problems worth solving, missing. Any other thoughts about what makes a great entrepreneur? what's a good characteristic for an entrepreneur when you think about the entrepreneurs in the world that you think about?
Persistence.
Another great characteristic, absolutely.
Vision.
Yeah, I think so. You know, interestingly, that's true. So some categories, I mean, some people would say that a franchisee is an entrepreneur, and they, of course, rarely have vision. On the other hand, there's people like Steve Jobs, right, who like everyone considers visionaries, although some people consider them idea stealers. So it really just depends, I guess, on what camp you fall into. Other thoughts?
Seth, the point, though, is perhaps successful entrepreneurs are more visionary? I don't know. I mean, can you qualify?
I wasn't saying you were incorrect. Just that there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer and there's no right answer. You know, I think that, you know, there is no sort of specific of what necessarily makes for a good entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur. And I also think how people define success can vary, right? So there are social entrepreneurs that aim for very different things than, you know, the CEO of Enron. You know, for those of you who are old enough to remember Enron.
I would just throw in that when we complete this list, we will find that almost every successful entrepreneur has one of these characteristics. Maybe none of them have all, but also none of them have none.
Yeah, and so spoken like a true classic business executive who's also a very thoughtful and philosophical person. So thank you, Rick. Absolutely. I think some of the other things that people consider characteristics is passion. So they're often passionate about what they do. And I think we've all seen that, whether it's, and I tend to put people into different types of buckets for entrepreneurship. To me, the franchisee is a classic American example because they often choose that. They're often very passionate about the business, but they actually don't have any involvement in crafting the business, the strategy, but they are very often passionate about what they do and try really hard to make their particular operation within that franchise ecosystem very successful. On the other hand, the group that we have together here, I think are passionate about certain problems and certain discoveries, and it's really important to them to get that into the hands of people where it can make a difference. Passion's important, right? If you're passionate about something, it gives you more of an ability to learn, to iterate on something until you get it right. You're more willing to work hard, you know, overcome obstacles that get in your way, and persevere. Just a couple of other things that I'd call more classic textbook entrepreneurship assets, very focused on the customer. And you'll hear about, you know, acquiring customers, learning from the customer throughout these several days that we're together, focusing on the customer. Who is it that you're focused on solving a problem for, and what is it that they really want from you? Let me just jump to the next thing because it's important to me. So myths. And this is the last topic I'm going to focus on before we jump into our group discussion, which will be our first technical challenge as we try to get together as groups, at least as a group challenge. Myths about entrepreneurs. You know, people think about entrepreneurs, and I think I like to debunk one by saying that I think academics who do research are in fact entrepreneurial. But I think there are 5 key myths, and in this case, I put them on the slide, and I stole these actually from another publication. So just to be clear. And I think what Rick said about the why and the what would be accurate about this list too. But many people believe that you actually can't learn to be an entrepreneur. And I think NIDA and certainly the team here at I2I and all of you don't necessarily believe that. You know, one in particular that's personally relevant for me. So by background, and I'll give you a little bit of background and talk about why I think these aren't true, at least as it relates to me, and we'll get to know each other better over these couple weeks. I was a resident. I did my internship in medicine, my residency in psychiatry. And when I came to Yale originally, the thinking was always that I would join the forensic fellowship program here and become a faculty member. That was my academic interest, forensic psychiatry. When I didn't apply for the fellowship, even though I was friendly with the head of the program, who was a very well-known cerebral academic forensic psychiatrist, and he called me in, and I explained why I wasn't going to do that. As a resident, I had gotten really interested in all the technologies at Yale that were never making it into the hands of patients. And that became kind of my passion and my interest area. The head of the program, who trained here and then stayed on the faculty for another 40 years, he gave me a book when I told him what it is I was going to work on. And I don't know, are any of you familiar with the children's book called Pat the Bunny? Do you know that book? So there are spin-off spoofs of that book. Like, I don't know if you know this, but if you look, there are different little versions of it that people have made to spoof other things. So he gave me a copy of the book, and it was called Pat the Money. And it was all about this, this going out into the world, and everywhere you went, it was like there was money involved in everything you were doing. And that was, you know, I think about that a lot. I'm still on the faculty here. I still see him actually periodically. But what was fascinating about that was the misunderstanding of why it was that I was pursuing the things that I wanted to do. The reality actually was that as a forensic psychiatrist, I could make a lot more money right out of residency than I would as an entrepreneur. But the perception among my peers and colleagues, and in this case, you know, teacher, was that I was doing it for the money, which in fact, I made far less money for a few years after residency than I would have had I just done forensic psychiatry, which is a very lucrative subspecialty of the field. Luckily, things went pretty well, and I've done well, and, you know, hopefully made up for the money that I walked away from right afterwards. But I think the preconceived notions of why we do this, what we do, and how it works out are in fact not accurate. The other reason I pointed out is I suspect some of you, and we can talk about this a little bit in the breakout, when you think about your colleagues, depending on the institution you're at, there are often preconceived notions among academic peers around what it means to become a business person or an entrepreneur in the context of your academic work. Or if you're just on the business side and you're here, when you work with your academic partners or researchers, some of these issues are in the background, and they can influence what we choose to do and why we decide to do it. So I'm focused